simple reason. The media is obsessed with talking about the election of 4 years ago. I'm focused on the election of 33 days from now because I want to throw Kamala Harris out of office and get back to common sense economic policy.
The White House marked Star Wars Day by posting an AI-generated picture of President Trump as a muscle-bound Jedi. And they also posted a picture of JD the Hutt.
If you thought the situation couldn't get more unhinged, JD Vance somehow found a way to make it worse. After Saturday Night Live landed a hit he clearly wasn't prepared for, and Colin joked a little too close to the truth, Vance didn't shrug it off, he panicked. What followed looked less like a response, and more like a full-blown meltdown. Outraged tweets started flying. As if public fury could be summoned on command, instead of killing the joke, he magnified it, turning a single comedy sketch into a viral spectacle, so buckle up, because this isn't just about SNL anymore. It's a chaotic collision of bruised egos, celebrity satire, and political insecurity spiraling out in real time.
I didn't bring a list of conservatives to denounce or to deplatform, and I don't really care if some people out there, I'm sure we'll have the fake news media, denounce me after this speech.
You know it. We all saw it. But think, it is not the worst fate. It is better to face a gunman than to live your life afraid to speak the truth.
If Trump really wants to be Pope, he should probably stay away from JD Vance.
Before we move on, smash the like button and subscribe, because you already know you don't want to miss what comes next. If you thought things couldn't get more embarrassing, JD Vance somehow raised the bar after Saturday Night Live poked at him. He didn't brush it off or lean into the joke, he spiraled. What started as a throwaway Colin Jost line, casually referencing details of Vance's life that rarely show up in campaign speeches, instantly triggered full panic mode. Instead of letting the moment fade, Vance reacted like a politician who felt exposed, turning a mild punchline into a self-inflicted spectacle that only dragged more attention to the very thing he seemed desperate to bury.
The White House also announced that Vice President JD Vance will travel to the Vatican for Pope Leo's inaugural Mass. And I'm not a huge fan of his outfit. Vice President JD Vance, seen here watching the plane leave Greenland without him, continued his sad reboot of Veep this week by visiting our military base there and delivering the administration's clearest threat so far. Either Greenland joins the U.S. or the U.S. will keep sending them JD Vance.
Suddenly, the internet erupted like a shaken soda bottle at a summer picnic, with social media feeds instantly flooding with memes and reaction videos creating a moment of irresistible, fast-spreading chaos that no one could ignore. JD Vance's response quickly became a spectacle of its own, hovering somewhere between stunned disbelief and full-blown anger-fueled tweeting, with every imagined keystroke seeming to groan under the strain of relentless all-caps outrage, and it was barely holding together.
Insiders are saying that President Trump is trying to create tension between his potential successors, Marco Rubio and JD Vance, mostly by pointing at them and saying that JD Vance may have helped Trump's numbers with Catholic voters, which is kind of crazy because JD Vance converted to Catholicism as an adult. And I'm sorry, you're not really a Catholic man unless you survived being an altar boy. My strategy? I disguised myself as a lesbian.
Turn. The fury up hit felt like someone broke into JD Vance's living room and turned every photo of him into a meme overnight. The irony was thick enough to spread on toast. SNL carried on without a care, like a cat knocking a vase off the table and staring at you as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, Colin Jost smirked through, making the exposure of awkward truths look like a casual weekend hobby. Vance's attempts to cancel the show landed like trying to stop a hurricane with a slice of water, because every tweet and clarification only poured gasoline on the meme fire. Fans went feral laughing, remixing as hashtags trended in every direction, and the internet reimagined him as everything from a caged raccoon to a cartoon villain at war with comedy. The more he tried to explain himself, the worse it got, handing fresh ammunition to late-night hosts, TikTok creators, and meme pages alike. What followed wasn't just bad PR, it was a full-blown meme avalanche, relentless and wildly entertaining.
Last night, President Trump posted an AI-generated image of himself as the Pope, apparently ordering a one-way ticket to hell. Who posts a photo of themselves dressed like a guy who died a week ago? Trump was at the Pope's funeral. That means he walked past an open casket and was like, oh, we should do a who wore it best. It's truly like if the week Queen Elizabeth died, I posted this.
The absurdity of the moment was impossible to miss. As onlookers, especially political figures watching from the sidelines, likely took mental notes on exactly how not to handle public scrutiny. J.D. Vance appeared to be battling shadows, scrambling to regain control of a narrative that had already slipped through his fingers like sand, turning the episode into an uneasy mix of desperation and spectacle that felt less like politics and more like a reality show no one agreed to join the public. Meanwhile, feasted on every detail, Twitter threads dissected reactions, facial expressions, and badly timed statements. Reddit forums debated whether Vance had officially lost the meme war, while fan edits layered dramatic music, captions, and sound effects over the chaos, transforming it all into social media gold. In sharp contrast, Colin Jost remained effortlessly unfazed, delivering razor-sharp jokes with relaxed charm like someone juggling flaming swords while casually sipping coffee while Vance stood nearby as the unwilling audience member clutching a fire extinguisher. The spectacle escalated even further once influencers entered the fray. Instagram comedians and YouTube creators amplified the meltdown with animated parodies, edited movie clips, and deadpan captions, ultimately turning J.D. Vance's cancellation attempts into the punchline of the week across every platform not changed.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, President Trump has not yet won the Nobel Peace Prize, but this week he did win the equally prestigious Soccer Peace Prize. At yesterday's World Cup draw, FIFA actually invented a fake peace prize in Trump's honor. And that's why the trophy shows Trump's gnarled hands dragging the entire earth into hell.
Wasn't just social media fueling the spectacle, late-night hosts circled the story like sharks sensing blood, with nearly every show devoting extended segments to analyzing, mocking, and reenacting the chaos. Each monologue left audiences in stitches, while whatever remained of J.D. Vance's credibility took repeated hits, especially as his attempts to push back against SNL were met not with sympathy, but with laughter, memes, and relentless commentary. The public reaction blended shock with delight, pulling in even people who had never followed Vance before. Serious political discussion quickly faded into the background behind the comedy storm, shifting the focus away from policy and toward the sheer absurdity of a grown adult trying to cancel a comedy show over jokes and personal revelations, an irony far too rich for the internet to ignore. As Vance spiraled deeper into explanation after explanation, the memes only got better. Videos appeared making it seem as if he were trapped inside SNL sketches. Alternate Tooniverse jokes cast him as the host of a canceled comedy hotline, and absurd historical mashups highlighted just how surreal the meltdown had become. Creativity ran wild, while SNL and Colin Jost carried on unfazed, continuing to perform, joke, and exist as if the world hadn't just tried and failed to bulldoze them. The contrast was striking, one side panicking, flailing, and wildly overreacting, the other calm, composed, and effortlessly delivering comedy gold like someone frantically trying to outrun a tidal wave while the wave politely paused to sip tea. What followed quickly became a blown cultural event, complete with reaction videos, podcasts dissecting every move, and Twitter polls debating which J.D. Vance reaction was the funniest. Each attempt at seriousness was instantly transformed into content. Complete with captions, GIFs, and dramatic soundtracks, the meltdown became a gift that kept on giving, drawing in fans, critics, and even brands eager to capitalize on the viral chaos with merchandise stickers, mugs, and t-shirts featuring Vance's panicked expressions accidentally boosting SNL's reach beyond anything a marketing team could have engineered. And just when it seemed the noise might fade, a fresh spark, an old clip, a resurfaced tweet, or a poorly timed remark reignited the frenzy. Fans, commentators, and meme creators snapped back into overdrive as J.D. Vance found himself trapped in an endless feedback loop of his own overreaction. Each cycle grew more absurd and more entertaining than the last, as social media stayed relentless and the comedy train barreled forward with no intention of stopping.
President Trump acknowledged that due to his tariffs, this Christmas, children might only get 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls. Which brings me to my new segment, Oh, Hell No.
Oh, hell no!
Oh, boy.
Now, I rarely talk directly to the president, but you listen and you listen good. If I wake up on Christmas morning and I run downstairs to find only 2 dolls under my tree, I will lose my effing mind.
The absurdity escalated to such an extreme that even political pundits struggled to keep straight faces while attempting to discuss policy. As J.D. Vance's meltdown buzzed like unavoidable background noise, it became a near-perfect case study in how desperately trying to control a narrative can backfire in spectacular fashion, turning outrage into a shared joke, a lesson in humility, and an endless source of entertainment. Eventually, Vance had little choice but to step back, or at least pause, as the internet immortalized the episode in meme history while Colin Jost effortlessly did his job. Delivering jokes as Vance unknowingly supplied the punchlines, social media proved merciless and wildly creative, transforming every expression, tweet, and statement into parody fuel and cementing the meltdown alongside classic political blunders and comedy gold moments. The attempt to cancel SNL wasn't remembered as a show of strength, but as the ultimate overreaction meme generator, and just when it seemed impossible for things to spiral further, Vance went full panic mode, trying to shut down a comedy show like a toddler throwing a tantrum over broccoli, sparked by nothing more than the casual mention of personal details that were never meant to survive. Contact with late-night humor.
He will soon release the results of his MRI test from October. He just needs a little more time to write of genius after the word stroke. Well, yesterday, President Trump finally released what everyone has been asking him to release.
Nice.
George Santos, the former Republican congressman who had pled guilty to fraud and something called aggravated identity theft, which I think is when you push someone into a closet and switch clothes with them, is now free and will face 0 consequences. But Santos says that he's a changed man, and he even released a photo of his new...
Suddenly, the internet erupted faster than a shaken soda bottle at a summer picnic. Social media lit up in an avalanche of memes, GIFs, and reaction videos, making the chaos both irresistible and impossible to ignore. J.D. Vance's reaction quickly became a spectacle in its own right, hovering somewhere between stunned disbelief and rage-fueled tweeting, as if his keyboard were screaming under the strain of all caps. Indignation and every photo of him had been overnight transformed into meme material. The irony was thick enough to spread on toast. SNL carried on blissfully indifferent, like a cat knocking over a vase and daring you to react. Colin Jost didn't flinch. He smirked, delivered punchlines, and treated revealing secrets like a casual weekend hobby, making Vance's attempts to cancel the show feel about as effective as trying to stop a hurricane with a slice of water. Every tweet and statement only poured more fuel onto the meme fire, turning the moment into public relations chaos that was paradoxically endless. Entertainments. NL fans laughed until they cried. Others quietly took notes as memes spread depicting Vance as everything from a caged raccoon to a cartoon villain, bent on destroying comedy itself. Supportive, mocking, and wildly chaotic hashtags all trended at once. As Vance tried to explain himself, each clarification only birthed fresh punchlines for late-night hosts, proving that the harder he fought the narrative, the funnier and more relentless the internet became. Endless ammunition piled up as every meme skit and clever post joined what quickly turned into a full-scale meme avalanche. The absurdity wasn't lost on anyone. Political figures watching from the sidelines likely took careful notes on how not to handle public scrutiny, while J.D. Vance fought shadows, desperately trying to control a narrative that had already slipped through his fingers like sand. The spectacle felt less like politics and more like a reality show no one had signed up to star in. With the public feasting on every detail, Twitter threads dissected reactions, expressions, and poorly timed statements. Reddit forums debated whether he had officially lost the meme war, while fan edits layered dramatic music, captions, and sound effects to heighten the ridiculousness. It was content gold polished by chaos and social media frenzy. Meanwhile, Colin Jost remained effortlessly unshaken, delivering razor-sharp jokes with casual charm like someone juggling flaming swords while sipping coffee. JD Vance, by contrast, stood reduced to the unintentional audience member. Clutching a fire extinguisher.net.
Traveling on Air Force One to the Middle East to celebrate the ceasefire, President Trump told reporters, "I don't think there's anything that's going to get me into heaven." Then he paused for 10 full minutes, waiting for someone to say, "That's not true." Because Trump can't go to heaven. He's far too busy down here, running hell. Who wants people to stop coming up to him to order chicken, has become the third person on President Trump's enemies list to be indicted.
The public's response was a chaotic blend of shock and delight, pulling in even people who had never followed JD Vance before, suddenly compelled to understand the unfolding spectacle. Political discussions surfaced only as background noise beneath the comedy storm, which had shifted the focus from policy to the absurdity of a grown adult trying to cancel a comedy show over jokes and personal revelations. The irony was irresistible, supercharging social media's frenzy as Vance spiraled deeper into explanations that only produced more hilarious content. Memes flourished. Videos appeared, placing him inside SNL sketches. Alternate reality edits cast him as the host of a canceled comedy hotline, and absurd historical mashups highlighted just how surreal the meltdown had become. Meanwhile, SNL and Colin Jost carried on unfazed, performing, joking, and existing as if the world hadn't just tried to bulldoze them, creating a stark contrast. One side flailing and panicking, the other calm, composed, and effortlessly delivering comedy gold, like someone trying to outrun a tidal wave while the wave politely waited. Sipping tea, the ordeal quickly became a full-blown cultural event. Reaction videos flooded timelines, podcasts dissected every move, and Twitter polls debated which JD Vance reaction was the funniest. Every attempt at seriousness from Vance was instantly transformed into content by anyone clever enough to add a caption, a GIF, or a dramatic soundtrack. The meltdown became a gift that kept on giving. Ultimately, the saga became less about Vance himself and more about the absurd power of humor, social media, and public spectacle, a perfect storm where panic memes and comedy collided to create an entertainment phenomenon no one could have predicted. Vance tried to cancel SNL, and the internet responded with laughter, chaos, and endless content destined to be shared for years. By the time the dust settled, he had inadvertently boosted SNL's popularity, fueled meme culture, and created a cautionary tale in public relations. Colin Jost remained effortlessly funny while fans savored the spectacle from every angle. The story was complete chaos, but beautifully entertaining. A reminder that trying to control comedy only makes the jokes hit harder and the memes go viral faster. And the internet, it never forgets, never forgives, and always finds a way to turn panic into pure entertainment. Every new attempt by Vance to regain control became its own mini-event, sparking fresh memes and photoshopped images, placing him back into SNL sketches like an unwilling audition for how to panic on live TV. Reaction compilations of his most frantic tweets followed, complete with dramatic music and slow-motion effects, each one amplifying the surreal, unending comedy of the meltdown.
Better be a second tree with 28 dolls. And you know, I've put up with a lot under Trump so far. He might be cutting Social Security. Okay, they're old. Screw them. He's deporting innocent kids. They gotta grow up sometime. But if only 2 dolls show up when I've made tea for 30, oh, hell no!
Began curating JD Vance's meltdown like a collectible series. Meanwhile, Colin Jost's comedy empire quietly expanded. Every joke landing cleanly, every quip amplified by the real-life chaos it had unleashed. It almost felt like performance art. Vance supplied the narrative, just delivered the punchlines, and social media stitched it all together into a masterclass of irony and hilarity. The world watched, laughed, and shared as the memes evolved into a kind of digital folklore. Fans unearthed old statements, compared reactions, and turned each moment into a lesson in absurdity. Vance's meltdown became immortalized as a case study in how overreacting to comedy only magnifies it. Every panic tweet was archived, every public reaction cataloged, leaving behind a hilariously permanent legacy. Ultimately, he learned, or perhaps failed to learn, the hard truth: comedy cannot be controlled. Each attempt to cancel, clarify, or redirect attention only made the spectacle more outrageous. Colin Jost's jokes set the dominoes in motion. Social media toppled them, and JD Vance became the punchline in a show he never wanted to star in.